Hello everybody, my name is Richard, that's Tom, this is Terrifying Tom, and this time we are discussing the 2011 film Insidious. Hello everyone and welcome back to the show. As I said, we are discussing Insidious this week. Should have been discussed a while ago, because the reason I picked this film is because the new Insidious film came out recently, The Red Door. Ooh.
You say recently, I completely forgot it came out.
It was like 2 months ago, I think. That's how long we have been planning this episode for. Time is not really our friend on this show. We're already running very far behind for the next film I wanted to do, so we need to get that one done quickly. But yes, Insidious, Tom. Insidious,
yes.
Oh, hello again, by the way. Welcome back.
Hi.
Nice to meet you too. Sorry, I introduced you. I forgot to welcome you. Hello once again.
Hi, I'm Tom. I'm a scaredy cat.
That's right. That's why we do this show. Yeah, Insidious. What did you know of this film before we watched it?
I'm very aware of this film. I watched the film not when it came out. I got the DVD after hearing good things about it. I didn't see it in the cinema. I got it on DVD. Watched it on DVD. Thought it was a pretty decent film. First time I watched it, to be honest. Repeat viewings though.
Yeah, we'll get into details about that a little bit later on. But yeah, this is definitely one of the films for me that was right up there as potentially probably one of the best horror films that I'd seen in recent times. From recollection.
Right.
Rewatching it probably doesn't have that same ring anymore. But we'll discuss that a little bit more. Let's get into the synopsis. So, Insidious. A family in search of help for their son, who is in a mysterious coma, turn to the paranormal and rediscover some dark secrets about the past and the key to getting their son back. Sounds good on paper.
Yeah.
It stars Patrick Wilson, the better-looking Wilson brother.
Is he?
No, he's not. It's no relation. But he's in all of the horror films. He's in the...
he's the 2010 horror icon, really.
Yeah, I mean, he's in all of the Conjuring universe stuff and everything, isn't he? So, Rose Byrne and Ty Simpkins, and was directed by James Wan. And it was released on the 29th of April, 2011. So, let's jump into the film, shall we? We open the film on a little boy sleeping in his bedroom. We don't know what's going on just yet. There's no context. He's in his sleep. The camera pans through the room, starts panning around some of the items and stuff like that, and then we start to zoom in on a dark corridor and a dark room, and there's your first jump scare. Old lady, witch face. And then Insidious.
Straight away, yeah.
Yeah, so
straight
you get
into it.
Sharp, straight off the bat, jump scare, sharp kind of noise, and there's your woman. There's your first scare of the show, of the film. We don't know this at this point, but this little boy is actually Patrick Wilson's character. We don't know that at this point. We're just led to believe that this is just a little boy, aren't we?
Of course.
Then we have credits, creepy music.
Yeah, I remember the first time I watched these opening credits, they had left an impression on me.
Yeah.
Very creepy.
Black and white.
He set the scene.
Like images of just like empty rooms and things like that. There's no particular reason to be creeped out by these pictures, but the music's very eerie. It's very low, very, building tension kind of music. It's
does a great job.
Yeah, really good opening credits, really good. And then we open up on I'm assuming it's Rose Byrne, the mother. The mother, yeah. Yes. We open up on her sleeping, and she wakes up in this brand new house next to her husband. They've just moved in. Always just moved in.
Oh, in every horror film.
Every horror film.
They always move into the nicest house you can possibly find.
And we got it for a bargain. It was so cheap.
Yeah, it does seem like we are focusing in horror a lot on families who have lots of wealth and move into nice houses.
But they don't have a lot of wealth. That's the thing. All of the money's tied up in this house. We can't
Wow.
go anywhere. All of our money's tied up in this house.
Was that The Conjuring, or was that this film?
That's every
That's
horror
every
film.
horror film,
It's the
yeah.
Amityville Horror. It's The Conjuring. It's every horror film is their money's tied up in the house. But this film is different. We will get to that when we get to that. But I like the fact that it's different for this reason as well. It's yeah. It's not what you think it is. There's a bit of a swerve, and it's a good one.
I'd like to see a horror movie where they move in and the poltergeists steal the money that they can to make sure they don't leave the house. And the objection of the film is to find that money.
So it's like a treasure hunt ghost film.
Yeah. So
what's the ghosts have motivation to keep the people there? Obviously.
yeah, they're just like fucking with.
So it's not a get out. It's stay.
You stay here so you can make your life a misery.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
Because that's most ghosts. Most ghosts want them out, don't they? They want them to leave. But your
Yeah.
premise is the ghosts actually want them to stay.
Yeah, they want to stay in and torture them as much as they possibly can.
That's good. I want to
And,
watch. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, and copyright that.
Yeah. Okay. What's it called?
In case it comes out next year. I'll give it a title. Copyright. Yeah, give me some time to think about
No problem, that's fine. I personally would like to see a horror film where the family's been living in the house for about 13 years and nothing's ever happened, ever, and then all of a sudden things start to happen. Because it's always a family moves into a house, and it's such a bargain. Why was it so cheap?
Yeah,
Of course,
this price.
why do you think it's cheap? Always the same thing. Have you never watched a horror film? Do horror films not exist in horror film universes? Yeah, they wake up in this brand new house. Everything seems to be fine. They're unpacking the boxes and they're exploring the world, and everything seems to be, okay. Everything's fine. And then one of the sons goes up into the loft for
That's right, yeah.
because I don't know, was he just exploring or did he hear a noise? He hears a noise once he's in the loft. But I think he just went up there just because he was exploring, right?
Yeah, kids, like to go places where they shouldn't be.
Exactly, yeah.
So,
Don't ever go into my secret room of
I
mysteries.
want to explore, yeah.
And yeah, then you hear the noise. And he falls off of a ladder, right? He falls down onto the floor, and then he looks across and into the darkness, and he's like,
See something.
yeah. Or does he though? Because it's never
Or it just
implied.
had an
He's
accident.
just
I
freaking out about the darkness, which then contradicts something which comes back into the story later on. But this is a bit I want you to keep in your head. Just this moment here, because this is a bit that stuck out to me. Just keep this moment in your head. He falls down and hears a noise in an area of the loft that's pitch black. And then was his family? They're looking for him, aren't they? And do they hear him scream, or is it?
They hear him scream.
Yeah, and then they go rushing to go to find him in the loft. And by the time they get to him, he is unconscious. He's laid out, dead. He's not dead, but for all intents and purposes, he is in a coma, as the synopsis says. They take him to the doctors. The doctors say there is nothing wrong with him. We cannot tell why he's in a coma. Medically, there is nothing wrong with him. Psychologically, there doesn't seem to be anything wrong with him. He is just in this coma. And time passes, and eventually the family are allowed to bring him home. They set up the room with all of these machines. A nurse is teaching the mother how to care for him while he's in the coma, how to change his IV, how to change his... I'm assuming he has a, colostomy bag and a
Yes.
the thing that goes in your pee-pee. What's it called? Catheter.
Right, okay.
So she's teaching her how to do all
You're
of
going
that.
into way too much detail with this.
Hey, man. Kids' safety is important to me. And it starts to take a strain on the family. It starts to take a stress and its toll on the family.
I don't know why I would, because you got a son that's being nice and quiet, and and no trouble out this son whatsoever. It's nice.
He's an angel.
Well
he's
behaved.
so well behaved.
Yeah. But peace and quiet for once.
The other son, the brother, is he's a bit freaked out by the whole situation. He says that he doesn't like sleeping across the hall from his brother, and his mum's like, "Why?" And he's like, "'Cause he moves around at night and it scares me." And the mum's like, and yeah, so you get inclinations, obviously. Something supernatural about it.
Doesn't the other son just disappear? Like, at this point,
I think he's used to build that up. You cut to a scene with him at night, don't you, where he's trying to sleep.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, but
and then
I think
like, he hears noises and stuff.
Disappears in the second half of the film.
He's not very important.
He probably goes and stays with somebody.
Yeah, the second half of the film, he kind of just isn't there anymore. I think they figured, one's hard enough. We'll just get rid of the other one. But yeah, it's taking its toll on the family. They're starting to argue. They're starting to, the Patrick Wilson's starting to stay at work late and everything like that because making up excuses because he doesn't want to go home. And the wife, the mother, starts to see things, to hear things, to get a little bit spooked out. And that's when we start getting scares. We start getting little scares about noises. Doesn't she hear footsteps running at some point? She hears someone laughing. She's starts seeing things, and then it comes to a culmination where she sees a man pacing outside her window.
Yeah.
On the top floor of their house, basically. He's just outside, pacing up and down outside the window. Now, is there a balcony out there? I'm not sure.
Yeah, maybe.
But either way,
explanation.
There is a man pacing outside your window who's not your husband. That would freak you out. And then he paces back one way, and then he's in the room on the next pace back next to her, and you get the sharp and the scare and the jump scare and everything like that.
Big noises.
Yeah, it basically is, isn't it? It's just always a sharp like that, like on the...
Which those people with the violins.
Yeah.
Playing outside the window.
It's like that scene in The Simpsons, where...
That's exactly what I was referencing, yes.
And then it's an orchestra track.
X-Files episode.
Yeah. Great episode.
Yeah, I love it.
And that's where, push comes to shove. This is the final straw. And this is the part that makes it different from other horror films. The wife says, I want to leave this house.
Oh, yeah.
I want to move out of this house. I want to get out. And they go...
And they move.
Okay.
We'll
move. He's like... He doesn't say, you're crazy. I don't know what's going on with you. Shut up, you crazy bitch. I'm going to put you in a fucking mental institution if you don't chill out. Or anything like that. None of this. We can't leave. All our money's tied up in this. The ghost stole our money. We don't have any. None of this shit. He's like, yeah. Okay. Let's do it. Let's go. Let's move. And they move. They move. Which I think is a... That's like a wow, okay, that's a new thing. But
it is smart, but unfortunately...
But yeah, the first day they live in this house, she starts hearing the song.
Well, she has some music on, doesn't she? And then she walks from...
No, she doesn't. She goes outside to put something in the rubbish or something.
No, she has any music on at all. But she
goes outside.
But she...
As she's walking back, that's when she hears the music.
As she's walking outside, you can see a child standing there.
Yeah.
Which you didn't see. We had to rewind it back.
Like 4 times.
Yeah, until you saw it. There's a kid standing by... I don't know what part of the house it was. Maybe it was the kitchen. She's standing by the wall, doing nothing. And she walks outside, and then you hear the music, right?
Yeah, the scratch of the record, isn't it?
Yeah, and you
from
hear...
From the window to the walls, till the sweat drops down my balls.
It's a very creepy song.
Yeah, it's...
I thought it was very creepy.
And that's when she sees
The little boy.
Is it? No, it's the woman in black, isn't it? By the record player, the really tall black, not black woman.
I thought it was
the
just a
woman
little boy
in
dancing
black. Getting his groove
on to the creepy song.
Oh, I'm sure it's the woman in black by the record player, like with the veil on and everything like that.
I'll tell you what, I don't remember that.
We'll put the scene. I'll put the scene in here anyway, for people watching the video. But yeah, I can't remember whether it's the kid, like you said, or if it's the woman in black, like I said.
I think that comes a bit later on.
But regardless, you know, stuff is now happening. Stuff is going wrong.
Yeah, they've realised this is a problem,
and
that they have, right, rather than
they speak to Owen Wilson's mum, because she comes in.
Yeah, that's right.
And she's like, I think I might know someone who can help.
Yes.
And she said, who are you going to call?
Ghostbusters.
Exactly. So the Ghostbusters show up. Well,
didn't see that one coming, did you?
No, like the with the fucking.
Oh, you haven't seen the version when the Ghostbusters turn up? You need to watch the deluxe version.
Yeah, that's the director's cut, isn't it? You know,
7 seconds of extra footage.
But I mean, they're ghost hunters. Then not Ghostbusters.
But they're kind of like the Ghostbusters, aren't they?
Yeah, they look like a couple of Mormon guys that come in.
Yeah.
So
and the lady.
Well, the lady's not there yet. It's the two guys.
And then they come up first.
They're exploring and they're running tests and things like that to make sure that, you know, it's actually all legit and they're not just, you know, it's not just being caused by electrical fault or a fan at a certain frequency or just crazy people making shit up. So they come round and the one of them is very scientifically minded. He's all about the proving it with electronics, and
so he's a nerd.
Yeah, and he's kind of a little bit of a skeptic. He doesn't believe everyone.
Yeah.
The other one is a little bit more of a people person. He's kind of the interface of like explaining what they're doing, explaining what's going on, saying, "Hey, look, I'm not saying I don't believe you, but we got to make sure that we can't rule it all out before we call in the old lady."
Can I just say, if your job is doing this and you're sceptical about the existence of paranormal stuff, then why are you doing this job?
I mean, I kind of get that, though, because, I mean, I'm sceptical of paranormal stuff, but I would be very interested to go into, like, haunted places and, like, investigate and explore and stuff like that, and find stuff that I legitimately think, okay, yeah, I can't explain that. That's pretty weird and creepy.
Yeah, I guess if you're learning alongside someone more experienced.
I get it, why you'd want to do that. Because, I mean, there's also the smug self-satisfaction you get from proving someone wrong as well, isn't there?
Of course.
You know.
Who doesn't like being smug?
Yeah, exactly. So you get the whole, you thought it was ghosts. It's, that light comes on and puts a shadow on the wall, you fucking idiot. But yeah, anyway, he's going around with all the electronics. He picks up a little bit of something around this grandfather clock. He's a bit like, pulls out his little, one of those slide things that kids have that you look through and it's got like the wheel of pictures and you it goes to the next picture, next picture. But he's modified it to have different wavelengths of light.
Right.
Which is not how that would actually work at all. Like, that wouldn't work. Like, that, because you're still looking it through the same eyes. It's got nothing to do with, like an infrared camera works as an infrared camera.
Right.
You look at it on the screen, which interprets what the lens is seeing and puts it in a waveform that you can see.
Right. Okay, it's just a dramatic effect.
But yeah, I mean, for like this, like if I was like, yeah, this lets you see in infrared. Can you see in infrared now? It's the same thing. It's it's ridiculous, but it's just different colours in a piece of cardboard. So all you do is just see in different colours. It wouldn't. It wouldn't change the wavelength of the light for you. Like, now you can see an infrared. Now you can see an ultraviolet. No, it's like, now you see in red. It's got a red filter. It's got a purple filter. That's it. It's like, it's not... Yeah, it's ridiculous. But it works. He's... And boom! There's a couple of twin girls just there on the other side of the... On the other side of
twin girls
the grandfather clock. Yeah, there's two creepy ghosts. And he's, whoa, shit! And he's like backing up and backs into the living room and he's like to the other guy, he's like, we can bring her in now. Yeah, there's something
I
here.
believe. Yeah.
So this old lady comes.
Yep.
And introduces herself and she's all like, known your mum for years and blah, blah, blah. And, just going around the house, it's like, oh, no, I know what you're thinking. Oh, it's all good.
Lynn Shay is her name.
Oh, you took notes.
I wrote it down, yeah.
Have you taken any notes on anything that we've gone past yet?
No.
No?
Just cast.
Okay, cool.
No. Yeah, so obviously the what I meant to say was the writer of this film is one of the nerdy dudes.
Oh, he's one of those two?
Yeah, he's the guy who was in Saw. He wrote
Oh,
the film.
okay.
And that's what I've got other than that. And obviously Lynn Shay comes in. She would, I guess, also become sort of a icon in horror to the extent of Patrick Wilson a little bit.
Through these films?
Through these films, yeah.
Probably not on the same level.
Not on the same level because
she's not in a universe, is she?
She's in the James Wan.
Are you even in a
Patrick Wilson universe?
Yeah. Oh, is she? Oh, did she
Yeah.
get used for like a lot of the Conjuring stuff as well?
I don't know. I don't remember seeing her in the other films, but she's pretty much becomes the star of the Insidious films from this point forward. Although Patrick Wilson did come back.
Remember that statement right there as well. I know I'm asking you to hold a lot of things in your head right now, but I want you to remember that. So remember the little boy at the beginning, the bit where he's staring into the blackness. That's coming up. I'll cover that in a sec. And this woman who apparently becomes like a star within the Insidious franchise.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Well, anyway, she comes in and she starts like, exploring the house and just saying, "Oh, it's a lovely house" and everything like that. And then she says, "Can I see where, Coma Boy is?" And they say he has a name.
I don't think. Does she say that? I don't think she says that, Mitch. I don't remember that.
I can't remember the kid's name. She wants to go to his room.
Where's this little freak?
Yeah, where's the little lazy bastard? Get out of bed. So they take him to Coma Boy's room. And she's like,
Right, lots of
and
indescribable mumbling.
she's just staring at a corner
Right.
in the above the bed, talking to the what's his name, the guy you just said his name,
Leigh Warnell.
him, and he's like furiously scribbling on a pad, and the other people, the parents are freaking out, like, what's going on? What's going on? And then they eventually come over and to rip the vapor away, and they see like this demon kind of thing floating.
Oh,
above.
they start.
Yeah.
Do they start drawing what it is, or
Yeah, because she goes to write this down, and then she's staring at the spaces, going like that, and that's when he's like drawing everything, and then they see.
Lovely colour, right? Eating in my bedroom.
Yeah.
Lovely. Just staring at the wall. Nothing's happening. Just write this down so it looks like we're doing our jobs.
Yeah. You got a cobweb up there. I don't know if you saw that. It needs to clean better. Get Coma Boy out of bed. Get him clean. But that's where you first see the demon. That is
The demon.
No, it's not the first time you see the demon.
The
first
very
time
famous scene
where he's in the bedroom, and she said, "I had a dream This is before they get the woman in, when they're talking to Owen Wilson's mum. And she's like, I had a dream that we went into the room and there was just a black figure standing next to him.
Okay.
And then I asked him, what does he want? What do you want?
Yeah,
and
that
he's
might be
like
it, yeah.
pointing to the...
I thought the first time we
Coma
saw
Boy.
him was when he's standing behind the chair.
No, that comes...
That comes later, I guess. I don't know.
No, that comes in this scene.
Oh, okay. Right.
I came today because last night I had a dream about this place. I was in this house, but it was late at night. I went into Dalton's room. There was something in there with him. It was standing there in the corner. I asked it, "Who are you?" And it said it was a visitor. I said, "What do you want?" It said Dalton. I can still hear that voice.
Yeah, so the mum's telling him about the dream that she had, and she's saying there was a tall black figure just standing in the corner of the room.
More of the...
Yeah, and then she's like, "What do you want?" And he's like, and points at that coma boy. And then she's like, "And it's something evil. He wants him. It's evil in this house," and blah blah blah. And then that's when you see the little from behind Owen Wilson, and they all freak out, and like, I remember that scene. That scene got me.
Yeah, that definitely.
The first time I ever watched this scene, that scene got me, and it got me again this time when we were watching it. Even
though I knew it was coming.
Yeah, I knew it was coming, and it still got me with the but yeah, and then cutting back to, so this is the second time we see the demon when it's floating above the coma boy's bed. Yeah, the demon. And then old lady, famous old lady. She says
she was in Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, so she's a bit of a horror icon.
Yeah,
then.
yeah, she was a teacher in the Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, okay.
Just so you know.
Okay, so Mrs. Kruger says, like, "Oh, it's not the house that's haunted, it's your son."
Yeah.
What has happened is that
but they've been in two houses now. They can't both be haunted. Like, come on.
I
Sure,
mean,
you figure this shit out by now.
maybe you could be that unlucky.
I don't know. Maybe you could be. I don't know.
I mean, my mind would kind of go there, that it's the house. And then the second time, I was like, right, okay.
Yeah, the first time you obviously think the house.
So,
is
Coma Boy is in a weird coma that no one can explain. And now I'm seeing all these ghosts and paranormal activity and everything everywhere. This house is clearly fucked. Now we move to another house.
This shit's still...
Coma Boy's still in a coma. And this shit is now happening again.
You can't call him Coma Boy if he's not in a coma.
Yeah, he's just boy then, isn't he?
Yeah, he's just boy. That's a bit boring, isn't it?
But yeah, so now Coma Boy's still in a coma and shit's still happening in my house. Maybe something's going on. I don't know, but would your mind go there?
We just call him Sleepy Boy instead of Coma Boy.
No, I like Coma Boy. Okay. It's easier to say than Sleepy Boy. Just Lazy Boy.
Lazy Boy.
So yeah, I mean, would you question that? Would you?
What question? I would question that it's not the house. If I moved into another house and that was also haunted.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you would start questioning that, wouldn't you?
I don't know.
What are the chances of you moving to another house and that's haunted as well?
I mean, what are the chances of me moving to a haunted house in the first place?
Exactly. There you go.
But then I would you not consider the fact that maybe there's something wrong with you?
Oh, I've always considered that fact.
No, but seriously. You go to a house and okay, you think it's haunted, fine, whatever. That's your business.
Yeah.
But then you're saying you move to another house and that's haunted, and you're saying, well, what are the chances of that? I would then go to well, I'm clearly going crazy
Right, yeah. You think
It's me, because no one else is
I mean,
seeing this.
she
It's
might
just
thought that
me.
She's the problem rather than Lace Boy.
Yeah.
So you could say you're the problem. I mean, in any situation, you're gonna be negative about yourself, aren't you? It's your problem.
But I mean, especially if no one else is seeing it, that's the point. Is if no one else sees it, then you're really like.
Yeah, and especially since her husband has dealt with this before.
Well, we don't know that yet.
Well, we don't know that yet. We haven't got to that. Okay, but yeah,
we're going to get to that later. Spoilers. Mrs. Kruger is basically explaining. Look, Coma Boy is not in a coma. All right. Do you know about astral projection? And they're like, what you mean, like, he's like out of body experience and stuff. And they're like, she's like, exactly. So what happens is that he's probably been doing this his whole life. Is when he sleeps, he's
sleepy boy.
He's a sleepy boy. His spirit, soul, mental capacity, whatever you want to call it, leaves his body and wanders off to go and explore the dream world, basically.
Mm.
And what happens is that his body is now an empty vessel, available for any crackhead to come and steal, basically. He's left the keys in the ignition in the wrong neighborhood. Crackheads want to steal his car, basically. So that's what's happened here. And now we can come back to staring into the darkness thing.
Right.
So she says he's not scared because he thinks he's dreaming. He thinks they're dreams.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha, yeah.
So he
Nightmares.
fucks off thinking he's dreaming. Like, oh, I'm what a cool dream. I'm seeing myself sleep. That's really cool and stuff like that. So he's not scared by that. So when he stares into the darkness, what happens? So in the loft, he falls down. He doesn't knock himself out, so you can't use that excuse because he sits on the floor and he's like looking at the darkness like. So A, he either gets knocked out through one form or another, either like cracked over the head by a demon or panic attack and he just passes out. So there's that option. In which case, A, why does he think he's just dreaming and that he's all right by that if that has happened? Or B, he's petrified, staring into the darkness, falling asleep. I don't get how he falls asleep in that situation.
He's terrified into sleep. I don't know.
Have you ever been terrified to sleep?
No, terrified.
Oh my god, I'm so scared! Oh, I'm
terrified into sleep. Yeah. I mean, kind of, there's a lot of parallels to The Exorcist, kind of. Except, obviously, Linda Blair's character doesn't go into a coma. But it's kind of the same thing with, attic and being taken over, sort of thing. Again, Linda Blair doesn't go into the attic.
See, I would say it's nothing like The Exorcist in that regard.
Just using those two little comparisons. A child basically being possessed, sort of.
But he's not, though. That's the point, is that they're trying to get into his body, aren't they? That's the... People are trying to enter this little boy. Whilst he's unconscious.
It's a very sinister turn, this movie, isn't it?
Some might say insidious.
Yes.
But yeah, that's my point. So either something's happened from the darkness that has made him go unconscious, in which case he should be scared.
Yeah.
Or he's looking into the darkness, freaking the fuck out, and decides that that's the time he's going to have a nap.
No, I think it's the first one. It sounds more plausible.
Right. So he should be scared of this situation then. Because the way she...
Of course he was, but he...
But the way she seems to point this situation out is that he's fallen asleep, he's wandered too far from his body, and now he can't find his way back. That's how she's putting it out. So,
because he's been taken over.
But he hasn't been taken over.
Trying to.
Yeah, they're trying to get into the boy. They're trying to enter him.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
But they can't, because I don't know why they can't. Because he's not there anymore. So you would have thought it would be easy. Like the demon's right above his fucking bed. How can he not get into him?
I don't know how this stuff works. Is this the point of time where this film started to lose you? Or was that a little bit later on?
It's a little bit later, but
okay.
On the second watching, this is a question that I didn't ask the first time, but on the second point of watching, I want to ask it now, because it seems like a very big, important thing. So my assumption is that the demon...
They're making up the rules as they go along, yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is they're expecting me to fill in the blanks, which I think is very bad film writing, unless you want to leave something... what's the word I'm trying to think of? Ambiguous.
Right.
Like the end of Joker, for instance. Was it a dream all along? Was it a fantasy? Or is he in Arkham Asylum because of what he did? Inception's another one. Is he really dreaming? You know, if you want to leave it ambiguous like that, that's fine. But this seems like a very major point that isn't open for ambiguity. Like this is the main driving point of the plot. Like, he is missing, and that is when he went missing, and this is why the things are trying to get into his body now. So this seems like
this is when this film starts to get a little bit too much.
They're asking me to fill in the blanks here, which I think's a little bit...
Yeah, it gets a little bit silly.
So what I think happened is that the demon's obviously in the darkness. He's made him go unconscious through one means or another, and then he's stolen his astral body.
He stole the child's body.
He stole the child. No, the child's soul. He stole the child's soul.
His soul.
And taken it away. We'll get to that bit in a minute.
It's kind of a Bart Simpson Milhouse situation. Except Bart willingly gave Milhouse his soul.
Yeah, if you want to go like that. I mean, I think it's just a spiritual kidnapping, but
right.
But then that makes me think. Well, actually, we'll get to that when we get to it. Hold that in your head, anyway. So yeah, so they're saying that that's what's happening, and it's not actually a medical coma, so medicine's not going to help anymore. And that's where Owen Wilson gets off of this ride.
Patrick Wilson.
Owen Wilson, that's what I said. He gets off of this ride, and he's like, wow.
Ah, that's it. Yeah.
Like,
wow.
I'm not really interested anymore. You know. Ka-chow.
Wow.
He's like, no. I've heard enough of this nonsense. I've put up with. I've gone all of the way to this point. I've heard everything, but this is exactly what these people want you to do. You know, they try to reel you in with this false hope, and it's a scam. It's a scam, and I've listened long enough. I'm not going to listen anymore. I want you out of my house.
Yep.
And the wife's like, motherfucker, how stuff's happening? Why don't you believe me? And he's like, bitch, I fucking moved house for you, saying I don't believe you. What the fuck is wrong with you, woman? Saying I don't believe you.
In these exact words.
Yeah, exact tone.
Yeah.
But that's the point. She's saying, why don't you believe me? Why are you putting up these barriers and stuff? And he's saying, how dare you say I don't believe you? I moved house because you said you were seeing ghosts and you wanted to get out of that house. I did that for you. I did this for you. But now you are getting to a point where you are asking me to believe in things beyond medicine. And you want me to stop medical treatment for my son who is ill to go with this crazy woo-woo bullshit. No. Fuck you. Fuck y'all. Get out of my fucking house.
Okay.
And then she's like, right, yeah, I get it. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, have a good one. Take care. And she leaves, comfortably. The wife's just like, you motherfucker. How fucking dare you? And then she wanders off calling him some sort of cunt or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, you know. And then he's wandering around, and we cut to him in Coma Boy's room, and he's laying next to Lazy Boy. He's sitting next to Lazy Boy, sorry. And he's like, you're not lost. You're not lost. I know you're there. I know you're in there. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Major Tom? Can you hear me? And then he's like starts getting upset, and he starts looking at some of the drawings on the kid has done on his bedroom wall, and they basically like say things like, last night I watched myself dreaming, and last night I flew through my bedroom window, and I went out exploring. I saw my house from above, and then he's like, okay, I believe you. Okay, and he goes back to his wife, and he's like, you know what? I don't want to sleep on the settee. So let's do it. Let's potentially murder my son because I don't want to have a bad back.
I don't remember this twist. Oh, is this not the deluxe
This
version?
is the extra version with the Ghostbusters. You must not have seen.
Gotcha, right.
But yeah, no, basically, he just changes his mind because he sees these pictures
Yeah, I mean
that this kid drew.
That could be a good twist to the film. They're like, oh, you know how we can get rid of this problem? Kill this child. Problem solved, and they live a nice, happy life.
But yeah, he comes around to it very easily. He just sees some pictures that a kid drew and thinks, yep, okay, yep, totally, 100%. That's got nothing to do with imagination, you know. Like, I've seen kids that have said, I drew myself as a dinosaur. Does that mean that they were really a dinosaur all along? No, I dreamt that I was flying last night. Yeah, clearly he's having out-of-body experiences, 100%. There's no way it's just childhood imagination. But he goes along with it, gets Mrs. Kruger back, and then they start setting up for a seance in Coma Boy's room, setting up all these cameras, and they're designed to go off with temperature differences and electromagnetic field differences and what have you. They're designed to go off automatically. And they start doing this seance, and she puts on this gas mask. And that's the bit where I'd be like, I think we might have made a mistake here. She puts on this gas mask that's connected to a pair of headphones that Sawboy uses.
Yeah.
And he has the headphones, and he starts writing what she's saying.
Yeah.
And then she's like, all you can hear is like that in this gas mask, and he's like saying what
scribbling furiously.
Yeah, and he's saying what she's saying as well.
Yeah.
Like, why are you here? What do you want with the boy? The boy is mine. Blah 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 blah. And then it starts getting. Things start going off, like the lights, the flashes on the camera start going off, all the cameras start going off, things start getting really, and he's like furiously scribbling, he's like, die bitch, die bitch, die bitch, fuck you bitch, you know, suck my dick and stuff like that. And like things start going really, and then all of a sudden she's like, and the guy's like, fuck my ears, you stupid bitch. And like it all goes, and then she like has a heart attack basically, and like, you know, and then they bring her back round, and they're all like, oh, God, that was intense, man. Fucking hell. And then she explains exactly what's happened. The Coma Boy is stuck in the what is it called? It's not called the Nether, is it? The Further, that's it. He is stuck out there in the dreamland, in the Further, the world in between worlds. And what's happening is all of these spirits have sensed that this kid isn't in his body anymore, and they all want to get inside his body. They all want to get in there bad, like, you know, so that they can live again. These new spirits. And she says, I know this because his father was a very accomplished sleepwalker as well. And they're like, what? And it turns out that little boy at the beginning was Patrick Wilson as a kid. And the old lady that we saw in the hallway, she's the one that wanted to get inside of him when he was a boy.
Yeah, some really sinister characters in this movie.
And the mum, and that's how she knows the mum, because the mum brought her in. Because she noticed when she was taking pictures, and this is the bit that I loved when I first saw this film.
Yeah.
And I thought the premise was fantastic. Whenever she took a picture of him, there was always this old lady in the background somewhere. Always. Wherever they were, wherever she took the picture, there was this old lady in the background, like all dressed in black with a veil and everything like that. And as the years progressed, she was getting closer and closer in the photos until she was basically right next to him. And then that's when she called in this woman, and she basically stopped him from doing that. She basically cut off that part of his brain. He can't dream anymore. He can't leave his body. He can't do any of that anymore. And he stopped having his photo taken, and everything like that. He's scared of having his photo taken for that reason. But she came in, she cut that off. She wiped all the memories of this old woman. So he doesn't remember any of this until the mum takes out the photos to show him what's going on. Right. And then they're like, you are his only hope. You need to go into the further, find your son, and bring him back before one of these ghosts gets inside him, deep inside him, right up in there somewhere, you know. We're almost there, and then
is this the point when he starts losing you? This movie, or is it still a little bit further on?
It's
further on.
So I'm still invested at this point.
Right. Okay.
It's the next scene it loses me.
Yeah, I think when we start going into the further and further into the further.
So the woman hypnotizes Owen Wilson and says that you're his only choice. You're his only chance. You need to go in there. You need to help him. And she hypnotizes him, and he's like, this is useless. It's not going to work. And then he stands up and looks back, and he sees himself sitting in the chair.
Yeah, that's right.
And he's like, say what? And then she's like talking to him, but in the further. And she's like, she can't see him, but she's like, I know you're there. You're out now. You need to go and find him. Use my voice to like guide you and stuff like that. And then he steps out of his house, and then it's just like all fog everywhere, and he's walking through the fog and going through these houses and sees all of these dead people. And this is where the film lost me. When he went into the further, I'm like, I'm done. This is ridiculous, because now you're just like, I don't know, you're just Freddy Krueger in this shit now, aren't you? Let's go into our dreams and fight him there.
Yeah, it does. Well, it's been getting very silly up to this point, and still getting even more sillier. But it's still more silly.
Where did it lose you then? Or has it not lost you yet?
At first, I don't think that it lost me at all in the first time, although we'll talk about the main villain later on, where it did start losing me a little bit. But the second time I watched it, I was like, this is a bit silly, the whole thing.
Oh, wow, okay. Right, well, anyway, the further is just, there's no real threat for him initially. It's just creepy and weird. Like, he doesn't seem very scared. He more just seems like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, these people just, like, completely appear in different places, and he's just like, a bit weird, isn't it? How'd they do that? Odd. Yeah, that's weird. They were over there, and that's fucking weird, that is. Okay, well, anyway, moving on. And then they're like right in his face, and he's just like, a bit close, Move back up a little bit. There doesn't seem to be any threat. And then he finds where his son is, and his son is locked in a cage. In a creepy room with the from the window to the walls still playing in the background, and that's where the song comes in.
Again,
And his son has been, like I said, what I think's happened. His son has been kidnapped by the demon and locked in a cage. Like his astral body has been kidnapped and locked in a cage. So he's basically just a hollow shell waiting to be, penetrated. At this point,
you're into that sort of thing.
But here's my second point. So here's the other point I wanted you to keep in your head. So the demon has the kid locked in his body,
right?
Locked in his cage. Locked in a cage. So the astral spirit is locked in a cage. It's nowhere near his body. We've been told that when the astral projection is that far away from the body, that there's no control, and that's when that's why they try to lure you further and further away, so that you're further away from your body, so that you will be less likely to get back into it before they can. The demon is already hanging over the kid's bed with the astral projection locked in a cage. Why can't the demon enter his body?
Because they need to make a whole movie out of this shit? I don't know.
That's the bit that I'm just like, you know he's not there. You know that... And you're standing right next to the body at most points. You're hovering. Why can't you just get in it?
I mean, the rules are very different in this movie.
I don't know what the rules are,
to other
though.
horror movies.
That's the point. I don't know what the rules are. What are the rules? Is it like a certain amount? Is it like on the next full moon he can enter the body? Or is it like... Because it's already been months.
Take his time and, simmer the body.
Well, I don't know if I want to commit to one body. I'm a multi-body kind of guy, I like to body around.
Yeah, I think what they're saying is it takes a little bit of work to possess or get inside this boy.
Which I would say is completely contradicted by the end, but sure, let's go with that for the time being. So this kid has been out of his body for months. It has been months. You cannot buy and sell a house like in that short amount of time. It has been months.
You say so.
You're telling me that it's only been a few days or a week or two?
I don't know.
It's got to have been at least 6 to 9 months. How quick do you think they let him out of hospital when they don't know what the fuck is wrong with him? You think they're going, well, we don't know what's wrong with him, so you can probably take him home tomorrow.
Yeah, probably. I think this whole film happened in real time, yeah.
Oh, well, that was in a couple of hours, like an hour and a half.
It's that quick, yeah.
Everything happened in an hour and a half. Okay.
Why not?
I mean, that's the only way this film would make sense, to be honest with you, is if that was true. My assumption is that I would say it's probably been at least 18 months.
Okay.
That is my assumption. I think it's close to 2 years that it's been at this point. Is my belief. There is no way that all of this can happen in such a short amount of time. The hospital wouldn't let him go. It like for months at least until they know, right, we've exhausted absolutely everything that we can do. He's not deteriorating, so it's safe to go home. But you also need to now supply a fucking bed and everything like that, and all these electronics and stuff like that. Do you think that comes quickly? No, of course it doesn't. Then they live there for a little while. So they're still living there for a while.
Yeah.
Then they decide that they need to sell the house. Selling a house is not quick. You cannot sell a house quick because you need people to come and fucking look at it and everything first. Plus in America, you have to say, oh yeah, by the way, the house is haunted by law.
Yeah, how did they manage to sell the house so quickly, huh?
Then they got to find a new house to buy and wait on the property chain. Because there's such thing as a property chain. So you got to wait for the people that are buying your house to sell their house or get their mortgage sorted out so that they can buy your house. So then you have the money to go and make an offer on the other house. So that takes a while as well. So what I'm saying, I reckon it's like pushing 2 years, the amount of time that this film's taken.
Maybe, yeah.
So how fucking long did it take to get into this boy's body? Bearing in mind what's about to happen at the end.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about that a little
Yeah,
bit later on,
but
they're like the tease.
That's another thing that I want you to hold in your head. Why the fuck is the demon dragging its fucking feet in this? Anyway, Owen Wilson comes up and he goes, "Wow, I found my son, wow." And then he's like, "Oh yeah, but we'll get you out." And the son's like, "Oh, he'll hear you," and everything like that. And then you look up and you know where the music's coming from, and you can see the demon sharpening his claws or sharpening something on a grindstone or something, sharpening a knife or something like that on a grindstone. And it's just like, you know, like, and he's like, it's going to be okay, it's going to be okay. We'll get... And all of a sudden it's like, you know, the noise stops and he's like, and then you see the demon.
Listen to me. Look at me. None of this is real, okay? This is not real. Look at me. Look at my eyes, buddy. None of this is real. We're gonna go home, okay? You gotta help me. Here's one.
Oh my God, Dad. He is looking.
properly for the very first time. Properly.
This Darth Maul looking motherfucker.
This fucking anorexic, skinny cosplayer just bouncing around. He looks like...
That's a good description. It looks like a person dressed as a demon.
It looks like a fucking Halloween costume.
Yeah.
It looks awful.
The believability starts to fall off here.
It looks so bad. And you know what? I didn't notice this the first time I watched it.
No, I didn't either.
But the second time...
I think the main thing I noticed the first time was just the makeup and everything, which I thought, okay, it looks a little bit silly, but
I don't even remember noticing
all the rest of it, I don't.
I even... On the first, you know, the scene that we were talking about with the you know, that when it first, and it still made me jump. But even then, I noticed how bad it actually looks. It genuinely looks like someone dressed up as Darth Maul with their mum's makeup kit and went to Comic-Con dressed up as a really shitty Darth Maul. Basically, that is what it looks like, and it's just this. It is this really skinny, scrawny, dweeby-looking guy that probably hasn't seen the sun for about 6 months, and he's like, I'm Darth Maul.
Yeah.
It looks terrible.
I mean, you contrast that with the creepiest bits of the film. You know, the opening credits, for example, kind of falls off a cliff here.
Yeah, and I think that they should never have let you seen it. Ever. It should have always been in shadows. It should have always been just out of eyesight. It should have always been lurking in the dark. Maybe you can see eyes or something like that. Maybe. You should never have seen it full. And basically, they start fighting. It's just like jumping around like...
Yeah.
And it is basically...
going across the walls, doesn't it?
Yeah. Chasing them and everything like that, but it just looks awful. It looks so
dragging
bad.
his hooves on the floor.
Yeah, basically, this demon looks, and it should have just been kept just out of eyesight. Should have always been the thing lurking in the shadows.
Or get a better looking demon, one or the other.
I mean, just CGI it at this point, right? I mean, I applaud wanting to use real effects, but dude. If your monster looks like that, we should never see it. Because it looks like I could kick the shit out of it. It's supposed to be a demon, and I genuinely think I could go toe-to-toe with it. Quite easily. I'd probably break its arm.
Yeah.
It would probably break its own arm, punching me. You know, like it's... my bone deficiency!
I mean, I'm sure we'll get into it later, but, I don't think it had any effect on the success of this.
Apparently
this
not,
film.
no. But this is the whole point
come later.
Of this show is what do people find scary anymore? It just seems like fear is such an easy response to garner from people these days that if that's your monster and people are genuinely terrified of it, then wow. But anyway. They start running, as Tom said. They're running. They're on a race back to their bodies now, basically.
They're a race back further to the non-further land.
They need to get further away from the further.
Further and further away from the further. Yeah.
But they're in a foot race now, basically, with the demon, and it's chasing them, and through houses and across ceilings and over walls, and it's stupid and they're in a foot race basically now, and they decide to split up. Why?
That's a horror movie trope for you.
Splitting up. The responsible adult says, "You little kid who have already proven that you can't survive away from this thing, go by yourself." So they split up.
Horror movie tropes for you.
Fucking ridiculous. And the dad, Owen Wilson, ends up back in his old house, like that he grew up in, because it's the same room that you see at the beginning of the film.
Right. Okay.
And he sees the old lady that's always been trying to get into his body. Yeah. I mean, how long did it take? It took her fucking years and years. So it obviously takes a long fucking time.
There you go.
But again, we'll get back to that point. So he sees the old lady. He's like, I'm not afraid of you anymore. I'm not afraid of you. I'm not afraid of you. And then his wife ends up calling him back, right? She's like, come on, hurry the fuck up. You know, my dinner's getting cold. So he's like, oh, I need to run. And he starts sprinting towards the house. But you don't see him. You see it from like his point of view, don't you? It's like the camera's getting closer to the house, basically. And then he wakes up and everyone's like, you made it. He's like, and then they hear the boy upstairs. They hear Coma Boy, who I guess we can't call Coma Boy anymore.
He's just a boy.
He's just boy now. They hear boy upstairs, and everything is. And they're like, oh my god, everything's great, everything's fixed, and that. And then we cut. You know, everyone's happy, and we cut to the people talking in the kitchen, and they're like, oh Jesus, whoa, that was, oh gee, boy, that was fucking something, wasn't it?
Crazy shit.
And the two geeky guys are like, I'm gonna write a book, and like, oh my god, like this is crazy, holy shit. And the old lady and Owen Wilson are talking in the living room, and they're just having a conversation. They're like, that was something, what was that? And then old lady like shakes his hand or touches him or brushes his hand or something, and she gets like a vision, and she's like, okay. She picks up a camera, and then he's still talking, thinking everything's right and everything like that. And then as he turns around, she snaps a photo of him, and he's like pissed.
Yeah, he's
like
mega pissed.
What the fuck do you think you're doing? You know I hate that. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? And then he starts fucking strangling her. Probably, you bitch!
Like she owes him money.
Bitch! Yeah, where's my fucking $10?
Yeah.
Like, he's like calling her a bitch. He's like fucking killing her. He is fucking killing her. And then like it cuts back to like the I think it's the mum and the mum in the kitchen, isn't it, or something like that, and they're talking, and then they're like, oh, what's going on? He's like, oh,
I'm here.
Yeah, it's all good, everything's good. And then she picks up the photo, and then she's like, like that. So we are led to believe by the ending of this film that the old lady has made it into Owen Wilson.
And he goes, I'm here.
Yeah.
End credits.
End credits.
To be fair, they saved it with the ending, I think. Strong ending.
I mean, we're not going to talk about number 2 because it's not on our list.
We'll talk about number 1, yeah.
But if you've seen number 2, this whole ending means nothing. But with regards to this film, so this is my point. So he's been cut off from doing this for years.
Yes.
Years. Yes. Since he was a kid up until he's in his, late 20s, early 30s maybe at this point. He is an adult. It has been decades since he's been able to do this. This kid has been out of his body. Homer Kid was out of his body for, I said, maybe 2 years. Solid. Out of his body. Not just each night getting a little bit further and further away. He has been gone for at least months. And this demon can't enter him. This dad is out for an hour? 2 hours? Maybe like that? And the old woman says, right, now's my fucking chance.
She saw her chance, yeah, and she took it.
What are the rules?
There are no rules, man.
But that's what makes it stupid. It needs to have rules. You know, I don't mind films that are fantastical and out there and crazy, as long as the rules are consistent. If you say, this takes part in our world that we live in right now, but also people can fly, then I turn around and go, well, it doesn't take part in our fucking world then. There's no rules. This random person could just all of a sudden fly. That is not a rule, you know. Or if you turn around and say, oh yeah, this world is built on magic. Okay, cool. I'm okay with that. That's fine. But you then can't turn around and go, oh, apart from this one guy who discovers science. It's like, well, if you've already got magic, you don't need science.
No. I mean, clearly this film isn't aimed at someone as intellectual as himself.
I just don't get the rules. So that's what I'm saying. This kid's been gone for months at least.
Yeah.
You know, like, empty vessel there. Demon right next to the body. You know, like, for ages. can't get inside. Dad's out after not being out for decades. He goes out for an hour and old woman's like, fucking mine.
Maybe it's just easier to take over an adult body, I don't know.
But then why would they go after kids? That's just
It's more of
stupid.
a challenge.
They like to be challenged. Oh, okay.
Challenge.
Then why does she go after the dad then? It's not a challenge anymore, surely.
Because that's been her challenge since he was a child.
Oh, do you think someone better to do it? I bet you
Yeah,
1,000
yeah.
ghost dollars that you can't take that kid.
Yeah, and she finally saw an opportunity to cash in.
Yeah, it's like cha-ching.
Cha-ching,
I could
yeah.
buy a ghost house with this.
Exactly, yeah.
I don't know. I just thought that was ridiculous. And like I said, I'm not going to really go into number 2 too much, but this ending is a good ending if you don't think about it too much.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
And if you're not planning on doing a sequel.
Yeah, but let's take the sequel completely out of it
Okay, yeah.
and say, for instance, the end of just Insidious 1,
Mm-hmm.
and then nothing, whatever comes out afterwards, you don't know there's going to be an Insidious 2 when you watch
Yeah.
the end of Insidious 1. Yeah, it's a good ending. That's all I'll say about that.
Yeah, I mean, I would say this film obviously, like I said, it loses me when it gets to the further. I think that just ruins the film entirely for me. I think the idea of a psychological thriller where ghosts are trying to, get into you, is fine. I don't have a problem with that premise.
No.
That's a good premise. And the fact that, like I said, the whole photo thing was creepy. I thought that was a great little touch. And the ending, again, is a really good idea. If you don't think about it too much, fine. But the problem is that I do think about things too much.
Yes.
There's no
Clearly.
rules. Yeah, I can't help that though, man. Even films I love, I overanalyze,
Yeah.
It's like the T-Rex in Jurassic Park. Why do they establish that apparently it makes so much noise when it walks, but it can always sneak up on you?
The ninja.
The ninja T-Rex. What the... Yeah, it's like... It's like you've already established that it shakes the ground when it walks. How the fuck can it sneak up on you?
But when you were a kid and you were watching it, did you think of that shit?
No, not when I was a kid.
Right.
But I certainly hope the kids aren't watching Insidious. So it's going to be adults who think like things like that. Maybe not you,
True, no.
because you're too
clearly.
busy hiding behind the covers. But but to me, it just didn't make any sense. It was just like, what are the rules?
Fair enough.
But yeah, anyway, okay. Well, we
And can I just say, even though we have ripped on this movie quite a bit,
yeah.
this is still the strongest offering in the Insidious franchise. Unless the new one is really good.
I wouldn't know. Yeah, I only saw the first 10 minutes of the second one, and I thought, well, now you're just completely ignoring the first one, so I just stopped watching.
I mean, I'd have to watch it again, but I remember it being very dull and unmemorable.
It just basically negates the whole ending of this film.
Again, I don't remember it, so I said it's unmemorable.
It's not very very memorable at all. It's very very stupid. But the reason it got a sequel, very very much so. It cost $1.5 million to make. How much do you think it made in worldwide box office?
What was it? 1.5.
1.5 million.
I think it made, because I remember reading at the time it was like the most profitable movie of that particular year. I imagine it made over 100 million.
It made 100 million.
Yeah.
$100 million worldwide in box office. That is why it got a sequel. It was massively successful.
Yep.
And probably the film that kicked off Owen Wilson's career.
Patrick Wilson.
Yeah.
In the horror world.
In the horror world.
Absolutely, because he proved he was a draw.
Yeah.
Although I don't think necessarily people flocked to the cinema in droves just to see him.
I think that once they saw him in this film,
Yeah.
he was now bankable in other horror
obviously
films.
He became, this is a James Wan film, and
Yeah.
he became entrenched in their universe.
Yeah. So I think that turned him into a massive star in the horror world, I would say. I think that
Yeah.
because
Yeah, definitely.
obviously...
Conjuring would cement that, I think.
Yeah, and I think that people probably went to go see the Conjuring films more because they knew him from this franchise, I would say.
Yeah, I'd say that was a factor.
Okay, so let's talk about the film a little bit more, Tom. What did you...
Oh, God, let's keep talking about this film.
Just, yeah, so we heard what your initial thoughts were, and I think we've basically touched upon your second thoughts, but let's see how you would change this film to make it a better film or scarier.
Right, well, I mean, obviously we've talked at length about the stupidity of this demon character, and how silly it looks. You know, you go from the very creepy opening credits and very creepy scenes early on. I mean, I think even the woman in the cloak is a very creepy looking character in the film.
Totally
I think that's totally fine. But it's when you get to see more of this demon Darth Maul looking person. Probably gets more screen time than Darth Maul did in The Phantom Menace.
That's just...
it's probably even. I'd say Darth Maul probably gets a bit more.
Darth Maul looks better.
Oh, Darth Maul absolutely looks better.
This is the Darth Maul we have at home.
that perfect analogy, yeah. I remember thinking Darth Maul was the coolest thing I'd ever seen just from watching the trailers.
Everyone
I
did.
bought the key ring.
Everyone did.
Before I watched the
he
film.
He had such a cool lightsaber. Yeah. Everyone bought a lightsaber.
And then you watch
so cool
you watch the film and he's in it for like 3 minutes. Like, what the flip?
Yeah.
So obviously you want a more intimidating final boss villain for the movie, unless you want to say the woman is the final boss. But
there's an argument to be said for that, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, this demon is very much the bane to the Talia al Ghul of the cloaked woman.
You're making some weird references.
Although, not exactly the same thing, because the cloaked woman is clearly a better character than her. But you get what I'm saying. And Bane gets a lot more screen time as well.
So far, what I'm getting from you is to make this movie scarier, you need to make it into a mashup of
Star Wars
and Batman.
Batman, yes. Yes, the perfect Star Bat.
That's the best horror film
Batstar.
there is. It's a cool name.
Batstar.
That's a band name, that is.
Batstar, yeah.
Batstar, yeah, I could listen to Batstar right now.
Batstar!
Yeah.
Let's go, woo!
Wow, I love Batstar! So anyway,
Insidious, yeah. So, yes, so Darth Maul, obviously you need a stronger horror villain than that. You touched on that, I don't think I need to say more about that.
Yep.
Obviously all the further bollocks is bit bollocks.
Mm-hmm.
And, I don't know if there's a better way to do the whole possession of the child, is it? Sort of.
He's never possessed, though. That's my point.
There's a sort of a different way to tell that story than what we actually get of them going into their dreams, because, as you said, it comes very Nightmare on Elm Street sort of ish.
Just a really shit version of Nightmare on Elm Street.
And the whole putting the gas mask thing on, and that's a bit silly, isn't it? It gets a little bit stupid, doesn't it?
I never understood why she needed to whisper. What? I know it makes it sound creepy.
It's the mystery, isn't it?
Yeah, I get that, but it's just...
What is she saying?
But
what is she saying? Oh my God.
Once the family has agreed to it, why do you need to put the gas mask? Why can't you just say...
It's done for dramatic effect.
Yeah, I know why it's done, but it makes no sense. That's like me, it's like... What? Do you know what would be really cool is during this really intense psychological thriller, there's a massive car chase and gunshots and everything like that.
Oh wow, that'd be so cool. Be cooler than what we got.
But it's like
the demon steals the boy and then they're speeding through the explosions.
Yeah, they're like just cars being thrown out of the way and boxes flying everywhere.
We have to call in Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Hasta la vista, demon. but
Stand aside, Owen Wilson.
just because it looks cool doesn't mean it makes any sense. You know?
Yeah.
It's like once the family's agreed, you don't really need to keep it secret anymore. I can just talk to you, and then everyone can hear what's being said.
It starts falling off a cliff, really, into the second half of the movie until we get the decent ending. There's a lot to change in this movie, which I probably said more about changing this movie than I have about any other film that you've asked me about in this particular question.
Yeah, probably. I don't
know if there's anything you would change. Probably a lot.
I've already spoken about what I'll change. Make the rules make more sense. Don't go into the further and keep your demon in the dark. Don't ever show us the emaciated.
Don't get your demon out.
Ever. Especially around children. Alright, well let's get on to some scores then, shall we? What would you give this, do you think, would you say, Tom?
Very, very tough to rate. I would have said probably on the first viewing, probably around a 7 or an 8. But repeat viewings puts this down to probably... I'll be generous, I'll say 6.
Okay, I thought you were going to be a lot harder than that. Fair enough. Like I said, I think that this is one of the films that I was really invested in, and I honestly thought this is... The first time I watched it, I thought this is the one. This is building up really well, and then it just lost all momentum out of it completely, and I just thought this is ridiculous now. Second viewing, much like you, I thought it was way worse. I was like, why did I think this film was so good the first time I watched it? This is awful.
I thought it was laughable. Second time I watched
it. Really, not a film to watch again. It was weird. Like, bits of it that I remember being like, oh, that was a bit scary the first time. The second time, I was just like, it made me jump still, but it was just like, that looks terrible. Like the demon, when you first see it, like I never noticed how cheap it looked. The on the very first time you see it with the face.
Yeah.
Even then it looks laughably bad. It's only because it's just a quick and that's what gets you, the jump scare. Which I think, like I said before, is the cheapest form of scaring someone. If you need to rely on a jump scare to scare people, then...
Yeah, I think that's a common opinion held, isn't it, in horror circles, that jump scares are cheap.
I think real horror circles, yeah, but I think teenage, like girls that are scared of haunted houses displays and stuff like that love this kind of thing, don't they? That's what they think true fear is. But anyway. So, it is ranked 103rd on the IMDb list, with a score of 6.8.
Yeah, fair.
And a 52% Metascore. 66% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
With an audience score of 62%.
I'm not going to disagree with
Did
those.
not write down when this was on.
Correlates with my opinion.
Yeah, it kind of...
So it must be right.
Obviously,
yeah.
I would rank it lower than that, personally.
Yeah, but I gathered.
All right, well, final question, Tom.
Oh.
Did this terrify you?
At points, yeah. Yeah, there are definitely points in this movie where I was scared, yeah, definitely.
Even on second viewing?
Yeah, I mean, the jump scares work enough for me, and the ending, I think, in particular, and it's bookended by the opening credits and the ending. Which
so if we had a film with just those...
possibly the two scariest bit in the whole movie, those two bits, which stay with you, I think.
And yet you ranked it so low.
Didn't rank low as you.
Out of the films that we've already watched.
Right, yeah,
which
yeah.
I'm pretty sure you've said none of them terrified you at any point. And yet...
I think the others had moments.
Yeah. I would say The Others is a better psychological horror than this is.
Yeah, it's definitely a better film than this. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you very much for joining me, Tom.
That's all right, thanks for joining me.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for listening and watching along with us if you do. And, until next time, sleep tight. Trouble on the beat.
Este video ha sido una producción de Rich T Entertainment. Para más shows geniales como este, no te olvides de dar clic en el link que aparece aquí para visitar todos los canales de YouTube. También puedes ver este video que sugerimos para ti. Muchas gracias, no te olvides de dar like y suscribirte para más contenido como este.